morning, I'm Chitrakar and these are the headlines of the hour. The winter session of the Federal Parliament begins from today. Prime Minister Dahal faces challenges including the saving the ruling coalition and providing business to the Parliament. Winter chill takes toll on the victims of the Jadarkot earthquake. Those with chronic illness, children and pregnant and lactating women the most affected. The United States intends to launch further strikes at Iran-backed groups in the West Asia. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak says they acted with the US in self-defense. And the 2026 World Cup schedule has been announced. MetLife Stadium in New Jersey to host the final, Azteca Stadium in Mexico to set the stage opening group game. The winter session of the Federal Parliament is scheduled to begin today. Meetings of the House of Representatives and the National Assembly have been slated for 4 p.m. The Parliament Secretariat has informed that all preparations have been complete for the required technical aspects and physical infrastructures for both meetings. To ensure efficient formulation of laws, the Secretariat has made preparations to hold the session on the basis of a fortnightly calendar. Schedules are to be prepared every 15 days on the basis of which meetings are to be held. The Secretariat has prepared a schedule to table the Power Trade Bill and the National Code Bill today. Meanwhile, Finance Minister Prakash Sharan Mahat is to present the Fiscal Working Procedure and Financial Responsibilities First Amendment. Minister for Law, Justice and Parliamentary Affairs Thanraj Gurung is to present an order as provisioned by the Truth and Reconciliation Commission and the Commission of Investigation on Enforced Disappeared Persons. Meanwhile, Speaker Devraj Ghimire has taken stock regarding the preparations for the Parliament session. He said that it was important to endorse many important bills required for the state. Speaker Ghimire added that discussions would be held on the priorities and principle of the pre-budget and said that the budget would be presented at the House on the basis of the recommendations. The Bills session of the Federal Parliament is the important period for formulation of laws. Parliamentarians prepared only one law from the previous session, while more than 3 dozen laws related to implementation of federalism are to be implemented this time. 2 dozen other bills are also in the pipeline. However, considering the interest of the ruling and opposition parties, the bills are not likely to move forward in an easy manner. In such a situation, the government faces several challenges to provide business to the Parliament and to endorse bills. The Parliament session is beginning at a time when Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal himself is not happy with the performance of the ministers. Despite his desire to reshuffle the cabinet, coalition partner Nepali Congress President Sher Bahadur Deuba is not in favor of doing so. Its impact will certainly be seen in the Parliament, with consensus among the main political parties uncertain. Assigning business to the Parliament will be difficult. With no business, the Bills session is in the risk of being focused on allegations and protest. The government has said that bills related to transitional justice are to be endorsed on the basis of consensus or through majority votes from this session of the Parliament. However, main opposition CPN-UML has been protesting against it. Agreement has also remained elusive in important bills related to education and federal civil service. Stakeholders are also holding protest. The ruling coalition itself has remained divided on many topics. Constitution amendment could be required, to address the education bill, which is almost impossible based on the parliamentary mathematics at the moment. The House leadership has also felt inadequate preparations for the formulation of dozens of acts related to implementation of the Constitution, including the main act of Nepal Police. Main opposition CPN-UML was not just aggressive in the previous session, it also obstructed the House on a regular basis. The party seems to have strategized for increasing polarization and creating additional challenges for its opposition. Raising questions on the government operation, CPN-UML and Rashtriya Prajatantra Party have announced of protest. Rashtriya Swatantra Party has put forward its plans to create pressure. Former King Gyanendra Shah has also been growing active. The Parliament, which formulated just a single law in the previous session, faces challenges of formulating as many laws possible from the upcoming session. The government and political parties need to do adequate homework for this purpose. Political parties have expedited discussions as preparation for the Parliament session, which begins today. Opposition parties have already formulated their strategies for the upcoming session. Rashtriya Prajatantra Party has called a meeting for today, in fact this morning. Main opposition, CPN-UML, has formulated a strategy of halting parliamentary procedures if the government fails to assign business to the House. It has also planned to assign study-related tasks to its parliamentarians and hold talks with experts regarding the bills while also generating their recommendations. Rashtriya Swatantra Party has made preparations to participate in as many discussions as possible to ensure productive performance of the Parliament. It has made preparations to apply additional pressure on the government to formulate required laws for implementation of the Constitution. Rashtriya Prajatantra Party has said that its response would depend on the nature of the performance of the government and has planned to raise the issue of Hindu state. The party is also to remain firm in its stance on federalism. In addition to the opposition, ruling party Nepali Congress has also made its preparations. The parliamentary party meeting of Nepali Congress has directed its parliamentarians to grow responsible in the works of the parliament and thematic committees. The government had previously failed in assigning business to the parliament because of the protest of the ruling and opposition parties. The lives of the victims of Jajarkot earthquake have become more difficult amid the dip in mercury due to the winter rain and snowfall. Those who had been sheltering under tarpaulins have been facing difficulty after the rain and snowfall that was witnessed 4 days ago decreased the temperature. Those with chronic illness, children as well as pregnant and lactating women have been the most affected by the weather condition in Jajarkot. In the meantime, farmers of Putan have become elated as it rained after a long dry spell. However, the marginalized group have been affected by the winter cold. The daily wage workers of Putan have been facing difficulty to make their ends meet. Meanwhile, livestock farmers in the upper region of the district have migrated towards the lower belt. 2 individuals have died in Dadildhura due to suffocation. Police Inspector of Dadildhura Police Administration, Kusum Naik, said that the deceased have been identified as Dhauli Devi Diyal and her daughter-in-law Punam Diyal of Malam of Amargadi municipality. Naik said that both of them had been found unconscious this morning and were pronounced dead after being taken to hospital. Police have suspected that the cause of their death could be suffocation as they had slept by lighting fire in the room with the doors and windows closed. The students of the Tribhuvan University had become elated after the Office of the Controller of Examinations started 11 different types of online services with a view to provide prompt services from 29th of January last month. However, the system had been hacked 6 days ago. Students have been compelled to reach capital's Balkhu to get the services as the issue has not been solved yet. The students have been compelled to spend more time and money amid the absence of online services. Around 2,000 university graduates have been compelled to reach Balkhu to receive their transcript and provisional certificates among other documents. It has already been 6 days since the online system of TU was hacked. However, the system has yet to be restored. Meanwhile, important data in the system have not been affected. The university has formed a probe committee to investigate the incident. A complaint has also been filed at the Central Investigation Bureau of Nepal Police, CIB. The system has been hacked by a student, while involvement of more individuals has been suspected. The university had started providing online services to its students 2 years ago. In fact, 2 years after the decision was made. However, the entity has failed to ensure security and effectiveness of the service in its initial days. Time now for our segment, Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Here's the question: why has the government failed in protecting its own land? The options are A, consequence of conspiracies, B, influence of middlemen, and C, government indifference. Voting is on. Type any WS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. In our Public Voice segment, we had asked people in several provinces regarding their suggestions to the parliamentarians who reached their areas. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
बोलेकै कारणले जितेर जानुभएको त्यो कुरालाई नभुल्नु पर्यो।
निर्माणको क्षेत्रहरू गाईगुजरीको कामहरू चाहिँ सबै सम्पन्न भएदेखि राम्रो हुन्थ्यो।
गाउँ टोलको जुन पनि विकासहरू अधुरा छन् तिनलाई पुरा गर्ने भन्ने हाम्रो चाहिँ अपेक्षा छ। संसद भवन केन्द्रित नभएर गाउँ केन्द्रित बन्दिनुहोस्।
जे हामीलाई पुरा गर्नु पर्छ सर, उनले पुरा गर्नु पर्यो।
बेरोजगारीलाई रोजगारी दिनु पर्यो।
उहाँ त भोट माग्ने बेला मात्रै आउनुहुन्छ, कहिले पनि आउनु भएको छैन। एकचोटि पनि फर्केर आउनु भएको छैन।
हामीसँग आएर अब सोधी खोजी अहिलेसम्म गरेको छैन।
हेर्दैनन्, जितिसकेपछि आउँदैनन्।
Time now for international update. The United States intends to launch further strikes at Iran-backed groups in the West Asia, the White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said yesterday after hitting Tehran-aligned factions in Iraq, Syria and Yemen over the last 2 days. Meanwhile, UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has defended the latest strikes on Houthi targets in Yemen, saying they acted with the US in self-defense and in a proportionate way. Sunak added that the Houthis' illegal harassment campaign in the Red Sea is having economic consequences. The group's military spokesman Yahya Sarria said there had been 48 airstrikes conducted on Houthi targets. The strikes landed in 6 provinces: the capital Sana'a, the Red Sea coastal province of Al-Hudaydah, Taiz, Al-Baida, Hajjah and Sada. Samyam remarked on X, formerly Twitter, that American and British joint attacks will not deter them in supporting the Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip and will not go unanswered or unpunished. On the other hand, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has left the U.S. for the West Asia, his 5th visit to the region since the 7th October Hamas attacks on Israel that led to the war in Gaza. During his 4-day trip, Blinken will meet with officials in Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Qatar, Israel and the occupied West Bank. Earlier yesterday, U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said Blinken's top priority will be reaching a new agreement to secure the release of all remaining Israeli hostages and to implement another pause in hostilities to allow for the delivery of more humanitarian assistance to civilians in Gaza. Before wrapping up, here's a look at the top stories once again. The winter session of the Federal Parliament begins from today. Prime Minister Dahal faces challenges, including saving the ruling coalition and providing business to the Parliament. Winter chill takes toll on the victims of the Chitrakar earthquake, those with chronic illness, children and pregnant and lactating women the most affected. The United States intends to launch further strikes at Iran-backed groups in the West Asia. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak says they acted with the US in self-defense. And the 2026 World Cup schedule has been announced. MetLife Stadium in New Jersey to host the final, Azteca Stadium in Mexico to stage the opening group game. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Good day.